Hello and welcome to KSB TV. The last week we did not have an educational stream because we were in Las Vegas at the Pulse Masters golf tournament. It is also something that we want to talk about today, but mainly we want to concentrate today on Maximus, on team, and the perpetuals that are coming out right now. And we want to talk about every single in detail with the Hex line here. Patrick, how's it going?
Hi, Alan. It's going pretty well. I'm also back in South America, and we had a great week last week. And as you already say, let's first recap a little bit the last week. I guess you have prepared some tweets and some pictures and so on. And after that introduction, we are going to speak in depth about the new perpetuals, about Maxi, about team, and about the possibilities and options you have with them.
Exactly. I'm really excited for those perpetuals. But first of all, let's do our little introduction. Here we go over my Twitter, because now this is the time for you to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel and also retweet it out to bring all the Hexicans here, because I think it's going to be a really fun stream. So Patrick, the first thing that I want to show here is hole number 13, the Kryptosparbuch hole at the golf at the Pulse Masters Golf Tournament. Really, really beautiful here, I think, the scenery. And then, of course, we have another picture with all the sponsors, and that really shows how much involved the Hex community really is. What I would like to do, Patrick, is I'm going here to the hashtag Pulse Masters. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and I will ask you the question, how did you experience the Golf Masters Tournament? I mean, it was a really big day for KSB TV, but how did you experience everything?
So I liked it a lot. So the day started like pretty early in the morning. You know, we had two sessions, morning golfers, afternoon golfers, and plenty of prizes to win as well. And lots of people came, even if it was like one of the hottest week of the whole year in Las Vegas. And yeah, you see like all of our holes were sponsored holes, like the whole community came together. And I would really say that the Pulse Masters was a Hex and Pulse community event. And what you can see here is like the packing of our swag bag. So each and every golfer got a nice swag bag with like really two high quality hats in it, with some stickers in it, with some tees in it, with custom made golf balls in it. And yeah, everybody had like fun with those things. Then here the RPE, right, was also one of the whole sponsors, and those are the guys who are making those awesome business cards, like the metal ones. For example, this one where you have like hex.com and pulsechain.com with a QR code screen, or the same like in pink with silver, or in black with gold. I like them also a lot. Or pink with gold is also.
And what we see here in this picture is the schedule of the whole week, right? We have been to all the events in Las Vegas. If you guys have special questions, then feel free to ask. But we want to concentrate on the golf tournament and then on the perpetuals. Patrick, like here we see, for example, how a booth would look at our hole, right? This here is how to pulse. I think this is pretty cool.
Pulse, yeah. They also gave out like free T-shirts and so on. Also pretty cool.
Exactly. And then at every
And
hole.
our title sponsor, for example, Mintra, also came with free T-shirts, and like in the golf swag bags, they had like a cooling towel for the golfers in there. And one of our main sponsors afterwards was like the Hex sponsor, the Hex Hole, where some community members, some Hex OG came together and sponsored a silver sponsorship, which was then possible for us to have a Hex team in the morning and a Hex team in the afternoon. And in the afternoon, the Hex team actually won the tournament.
And maybe you can say a little bit more about who won, because as I have heard, it were no coiners that won the special prize of Pulse Chain and Pulse X, right?
Yeah, so exactly. So the OGs who came together and sponsored the Hex Hole, they all say like, we are not golfers. We just want to contribute, you know, because we like the idea, and we like it what you are doing out there. And so they nice. That's That's gym rat, right?
That's Jimred. Yeah, at the Power City Hall,
Gym
they
rat's
had
gymnastics.
a, a
Yeah,
gas
the
gun to
gun.
shoot the ball, right?
Yeah, I also did that. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, so when it comes to the Hex teams, we reached out to golf associations, and asked them if they would play for the Hex team. And we got some local golfers together. And yes, they were golfers, so they did pretty well.
And that's probably the reason why they won this golf tournament. And I mean, look at this
But
beautiful
it was really,
view.
really close. So it was really, really close. Yeah. So in the was it the morning teams? So the morning teams were like at the same scorecard, and how that works then is you calculate the scorecard backwards, like from 18th hole backwards, and then on hole number 13, one team was like better than the other one, and that's how they won the morning round.
And here we see what they're trying to shoot with those gas gun here, the golf balls. They're trying to shoot Richard Hart here twerking. I think that was really, really funny. I don't know if he was actually hit on this day, but probably not. All right, so these were
I
all the
don't know
pictures.
exactly. I only know that he fall a lot of times because it was a little windy. So, once I put it up, the twerking Richard again.
So you guys have seen all the
Anything else
pictures
to say?
and
Yeah, and I also want to give a special shout out to the Hedron and Icosta team because they actually played the morning and the afternoon round. So they played 36 holes in a temperature of over 100 Fahrenheit, of over 40 degrees Celsius still there.
amazing. And I see already here Naim being in the chat saying Dipcatcher live right now coding diamond hands for perpetual pools. This is something that we will discuss in our stream in a couple of minutes. But now let's continue with our introduction here because we will make that really, really quick. Like I said already, the golf tournament was a big milestone for KSB TV, but what was also an amazing opportunity was that Richard Hart made a live stream here on KSB TV. We got 38,000 views. I think one of the biggest videos that we ever got so far. And I just wanted to say thank you to Richard Hart with this picture here that was
Yes.
clearly
Big shout
inspired
out.
by
Big
him.
shout out to Richard.
Big shout out to Richard with this picture here that was inspired by him. And let's see what else we have here. Let's bring it back to crypto a little bit more. Again, when you guys have questions about Las Vegas, you can just put them in the chat. We'll answer them. But here we have a tweet from Jake Sharpie. I love this guy. He's saying Pulse X limit orders live now on testnet. And from what I have seen so far, it is looking really amazing. The biggest option that no other limit order exchange has is that now you can send your limit order away for 1 year, and you can now wait for 1 year for this limit order to fill. I think this is a really, really cool tool now for a bear market to really actually get some low
And
prices that we are already talking about.
yes, and just
Go.
to add something here, you're talking about decentralized exchanges. Of course, on centralized exchanges, you can uh, easily put limit orders, but then you can't put limit orders on our Richard Hart ecosystem coins because they are not listed on centralized exchanges. On
Exactly. And
Bitbox.
you know what? Actually, I think this is actually a good part that we are not listed at all those centralized exchanges because now we have the trading on a decentralized blockchain where we can see every single trade. I think this is pretty transparent. And it wouldn't be like this if we would have been listed everywhere else, right?
That's true, yeah. It would be a lot of fake trading going on.
So let's see what else we have here. Now I want to bring it back to Maximus and Dipcatcher, of
Dipcatcher.
course. Here, it's an amazing guy. It was so much fun getting to know him, partying with him in Las Vegas. And here he gave me a free cheeseburger. He said that everybody who's coming to this restaurant now will get a free cheeseburger sponsored by Maximus. And of course, I got there right away, and I got my
What
free
time
cheeseburger.
was that? What
It was
time
like
was that?
5 o'clock, 5 a.m. in the morning, something like this. Maybe 4, I don't know.
Or
And then
that's fine.
everything that we are discussing here, all the information are coming directly from Dipcatcher, the founder of Maximus DAO, and that's where I get all my informations from. And like Naim is saying already, here you see Dipcatcher being live right now, coding diamond hands. I think this is pretty cool. And since we showed Dipcatcher, I also want to show Goldkey. He's also the founder of Maximus Cash, and here you also see Jimrat, for example, or Marco the Hexican. You see Freddy quotes. and me, of course, and then Kevin with Gold Key. So I think this is nothing anymore. And now we just, yeah, we have Dipcatcher here. I've shown it to him, but what we actually want to show today is Maximus DAO. This is where Patrick will go in a second, and then we will talk about those perpetuals here. So let's do it, Patrick.
Yeah, just talk like 1 minute more because I
So
restarted my laptop to get better connections and so on.
no
And
problem.
now I would
Let's
need
say hello to the
to
chat. We have Freddy
review.
quotes here. I know Freddy always uses this opportunity to retweet the stream, so thank you so much for that. Naheem, how's it going? Crypto Cashew and Nate Stakes in the chat here. We have way more people watching, so I'm expecting to have a little bit more of likes. So please use this opportunity to like and subscribe, because this is what over 600 people did in the last week, because Richard Hart was streaming on KSB TV. So I see you have your screen share already up. Just tell me when you want to have it shown,
Yep,
and then we can go on.
yep, we can already show it. I just wanted to bring up like the two sites, the main site Maximus DAO.com, and then like a second site which I show you in a moment. Should we also show the ratio like Maxi to Hex? Then you would need to copy paste me the link again in the private chat that I can open up this one as well.
Yeah, no problem. I'm doing this right now. Patrick, I have a question here from Black Hexicans. She's asking, are we going to talk about the merge and a May potential copy of our Hex as well? Can you answer this question? Have you put some research into this topic?
No, because the merge was like a couple of hours ago, and I yeah haven't had the time to uh look it up. If there is like, I mean there is already like a copy, is like proof of work, and it is on a separate network, so you can like access it by installing this other network in your MetaMask. But I haven't done that so far, and I haven't looked it up if there is like any liquidity anywhere in order to be able to sell something. But I will look into that. And then also like if you go with the stream of Dipcatchers, he's also looking into that live right now. If you can access any Maximus on the Ease proof of work fork.
So Black Hexagon is saying, I have already seen the copy. Yes, I have seen a picture of that as well, but I have really not put any research in that, because I do not know if this is really the hex copy that we got or something else. You know, there are a lot of scammers out there, so that's why I did not put too much effort towards that. But now we are talking about Maximus team and the Perpetual. So Patrick, have you brought up Maximus DAO?
Yes,
There we go.
so we can start with my screen share. Then so the main page to get all the information from is maximusdao.com. And here you can watch videos, you get the link to the YouTube channel, you can go with team here, or you can go like with the learn more of the perpetuals which are launching. So this is like the main site here right now. First of all, let me explain a little bit like the why behind those things here. Back in April this year, this community consisting out of Hexicans, like Dipcat, Dipcatcher and Goldkey, they thought it would be beneficial for the Hex community if Hexicans could pool their Hex together in a decentralized way. So what they did, they created the Maximus contract, where in a 14-day period you could mint one Maximus for one Hex. And after that 14 days, all those Hex got staked in a 5555 stake. That's why this first token is called Maximus, because it represents a maximum hex stake. And since then, the Maxi price is on the free market, on the constant move, and people can choose to buy and sell Maxi on the open market. So what those perpetual are bringing you, like the opportunity or the option it gives you, is that you are not locked in for the whole period, for the 15.2 years. You have a representative token for your stake. And now you can either choose to sell your token on a free market earlier than the stake end time, or you wait until the 5,555 days are over, and then you get the option to redeem all the accrued hex and, of course, the principal as well.
Patrick,
And
let me ask
now
you a
they are
question.
coming
You have
out
already
with,
talked
yeah,
about
go
two
ahead.
value propositions here. Can you maybe tell us what do you think are the biggest advantages of Maximus or the perpetuals? What are really the plus points when you stake in those perpetuals?
So there are a few plus points. The first plus point is that you also get bigger pays better bonus because people are pulling their hex together. And for example, 15 million hex gives you already 1% of bigger pays better bonus. 150 million hex and more gives you 10% extra of the bigger pays better bonus. So that's the first reason. The second reason is big savings in gas, because in order to mint one-to-one your hex to one of the perpetuals is really cheap, and as it's not a swap, you can also manually move the way down in order to save here on fees. And then you have this representative token. So the next advantage is that you can get out whenever you want to, and you can also get out with how much you want to. And that's like an advantage compared to the HSI stake, because the HSI stake, you can also sell it, but you can only sell the whole thing. So when it comes to a perpetual, so let's say you minted 10,000 maxi back in April, then you can, for example, over the years, you can choose, okay, this year or now I want to sell 10%, 1,000 of them, or 500 of them, or 5,000 of them. So it's really yours, completely your own bank, and you don't have uh, any issues with that. And when it comes to HSI staking, you first you need to find a seller. I mean, you can also exchange it for iCosta, so that's like a little less problematic now. But you can only sell the whole thing. So if you just bought yourself like 10,000 hex, and then you made one HSI stake with that, in the future, you need to be like really careful when you really want to sell this, because you can only sell the whole thing. And when it comes to the perpetuals, you can sell like bit by bit as well if you want to. And the biggest advantage of the perpetuals, in my point of view, they are way more profitable than just keeping hex liquid or keep hex in a short-term stake, like a 30-day stake.
And should they not also be way more profitable by comparing if you stake alone?
Not that much, no, because bigger pays better bonus is only a few percent, and when you go, for example, with base, with trio, or with lucky, it might give you more hex if you make a 5-5-5-5 HSI stake.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying here.
But it
And
might, it gives you more
also,
hex.
Patrick, I know that a lot of people are saying, well, look, those perpetuals, base, trio, lucky, and that's it, they do not give you hedron, right? We were just talking about that. What advice would you give to those people? Well, I guess Patrick just jumped off of the stream, but the advice that Patrick would give to those people that would say base, trio, lucky, and that's it, do not give you hedron in yield is that if you want the hedron, you can just buy it right now, really, really cheap. It is probably cheaper to buy hedron right now than actually using the perpetuals and using the gas fees in order to get the hedron. Patrick, you're still muted, but is that would that
That's the
yes?
wrong button.
You pressed the wrong button, but don't worry. I think I answered the question in your manners because we just had the German stream as well. Well, Patrick, we also have a super chat here, $10 by It's Now Brian. $10. Keep up
No,
the good
no.
work. Thank you so much for the super chat here. This is really what keeps the channel and the Million Pulse Tour and KSB TV rolling. Having the community in behind our back and always seeing the support is really what drives us. So thank you so much for that. All right, Patrick. So we talked about Maxi, what Maxi represents, and now those perpetuals, those four, represent basically the same thing, but in shorter time frames. Base is for 1 year, Trio for 3 years, Lucky for 7 years, and Decky for 10 years. And right now you have the chart here. What do you want to show us now?
So, as I said, Maximus started back in April. And for this short period of time, people could mint one maxi for one hex. And after that, the stake got live. And then, if people still want to have maxi, they can only buy it on the open market. And after it went live, more and more people found out that this is like a really cool thing, like pooling hex together for a maximum staking length. And even in the third week, people with good amount of money already stepped in and already put it into a good amount of premium. And like 2 weeks ago, we saw somebody who was selling a huge amount of Maximus. Actually, he sold, I guess, 2 million Maximus in a really short time. And as you can see, it's only like 2.5 million total on the Maxi side. So that's why it dipped down a lot, but that was only like 10, 15 minutes and it came up here again. And then with the announcement that the other perpetuals in team goes live, it outperformed again until 2.6, and now we are like at 2.22. So a few months ago, you could get one maxi for one hex, and now you already need 2.22 hex in order to get one maxi. And this will also happen with the perpetuals, but not that extreme. So when it comes to the base contract, which is only a 1 year contract, it will definitely never be at a 2-to-1 ratio. When it comes to Lucky and Trio, they will also just go up like slowly. And when it comes to Daisy has like the biggest chances to go near the maxi ratio. But in my point of view, this maxi to hex ratio will be outperforming everything when it comes to the perpetuals. So none of the other perpetuals will get to a bigger ratio than maxi.
And obviously, this has several reasons. Maximus is the max stake length with 5555, which the other ones do not have. Maximus also has the Hedron accumulating, and it's just overall, I think.
With a 5x bonus. With a 5x
5x
bonus.
5x bonus. And then there was also something that you said before is look how much hex was pledged to the maxi contract. I think it's like 294 million, right? And I do not know if those perpetuals, for example, will reach the same. But we have a lot of things going on here with those perpetuals. Now we will also talk about, after we are done with the perpetuals, about team and then also about diamond hands. But before we do that, it's now Brian fat-fingered, obviously, the $10 because actually he's saying, sorry, I was supposed to be $20, haha, this one will get us there. So thank you so much. $20 more that will go towards the Million Pulse Tour and all the events that we are planning in the future. All right, Patrick, so this was the price chart here. So the perpetuals could behave a little bit slower, a little bit different, right? Let's go exactly to this page and let's see how much Hex has already pledged to those contracts.
All right. So if you want to have a look like on how much already got pledged, we go to team.maximus.cash, and here we go to the minting dashboard. And here, yeah, we see what's going on. So we see that already 21.6 million base are 21.6 million hex got exchanged for base. 20.29 million for Trio, 18.71 for Lucky, and 86.23 for Daisy. So a total of nearly 147 million hex got already minted for one of the perpetuals.
So, Patrick, can you maybe come back to the question, why do you think Decky is so much more interesting to all the Hexicans than, for example, Trio and Lucky?
That has several reasons. The main reason is because Deki is a 10-year contract, and at the 10-year mark, the longer pays better bonus is maxed out. So Daisy is the only one of those perpetuals, Maxi as well, who has for their whole timeline the most amount of shares possible.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
And
what we
that's why
also
there is way much interest in Daisy than in the other contracts because uh, usually who has a bunch of liquid hex or lots of hex are the hex OGs. And they usually have their own staking ladder. So they are not really interested in something which only runs for 1 year or for 3 or for 7 years, but they were like interested a lot in Maximus because instead of doing their own new 5555 stake, they just went with Maxi. And goes nearly the same goes for Dezi, because they are also thinking, okay, Dezi in the bull market could also be like at a big premium, for example, and it will also accumulate for the next 10 years the maximum amount of hex possible.
And Patrick, what would you tell somebody who is maybe afraid that a 5555 stake on the go.hex.com, a native stake, would maybe fill up the Ethereum blockchain because Ethereum sucks so much? We do not know if they will improve. What would you tell them? Is Maximus DAO the solution for this problem, the blockchain filling up with one transaction?
Absolutely.
So I think that's why I'm such a fan of Maximus DAO and all the perpetuals, because I think Dipcatcher and Goldkey actually solved a big problem here that the market has, right? There could be you could now say, well, Pullchain will solve that, but when Pullchain is really successful and we have millions and millions of people using it, then of course Pullchain could also fill up. And then the perpetual users would be the one smiling along because they are able to get out their hex of those stakes, but maybe other small stakers would not be. And bigger stakers, I do not think they will have too much of a problem. They should always be profitable from what I have seen so far. Okay, Patrick, what else do
Yeah,
you want to discuss?
the only problem there is like, do you really have enough space in an Ethereum block in order to end stake a 5555 stake? And as this is still an uncertainty, I mean that will continue to be that for the next 10 years, I guess. It's maybe better than just doing your own stakes because here you don't need to do anything, and also like if you just want to keep it, you can. I made like this mistake in the German stream, and now I talked with the Maximus team in the meantime, and yes, so the chat room told me that you can just hold base also for year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and it will just the only thing which will change is the amount of hex you need in order to mint one base. So what you can see here in the screen share is APY estimate. And when you look at base, it says 11.99, so 12%. So if that stays the same after this 1 year, then after 1 year, if you just choose to keep your base, you can just keep them, don't touch them. And if you want to add to new base, it won't be with the 1-to-1 ratio. If that 12% here holds, then in 1 year from now, you would need 1.12 hex in order to get one more base.
Okay,
The
Patrick.
only exception is team. So when it comes to team, here you would need to end stake and restake on a yearly base in order to collect the dividends from team
Patrick, before we
in the
go
form
to
of hex
team,
and demo.
let's talk a little bit more about base, Trio, Lucky, and Detsy. Like, what different kind of value proposition would you give each coin? What would you think base would be used in the future by the Hexicans, for example?
Again?
What do you think? How will be based used in the future? If Hexicans mint base, what will they do with
Base
that?
used.
Yes.
Just hold it for the year maybe. And another opportunity you have with Base could be to provide liquidity. Because in a liquidity pool, it's pretty common that you get more than 1.5% on fees per month. And when it comes to the pair hex base, you will have you won't have big impermanent loss. So I cannot foresee more than like 20%, because also base can be like traded at a premium or at a discount. But generally speaking, um, base hex might be a cool liquidity pool. And other
Exactly.
liquidity pools, but I don't know like how much attention they get or how much trading they get, would be base trio, trio lucky, lucky Dezi, or Dezi maxi.
And
Well,
Patrick,
but Dezi maxi is a hard one. So Dezi maxi, I don't know if I really would recommend it.
well, the question is how much will be traded in those pools. But before you said something really interesting about
Yeah,
Trio and Lucky.
hex base, I guess it would be traded.
So before you said something really interesting about Trio and Lucky as well. Look at the numbers here. We have 20 million, 18 million only sacrificed. So it seems like the Hexicans are way more interested in Decky. But what could that mean for Trio and Lucky in the future?
Yeah, that could mean that Lucky and Trio reach a premium early on, because it looks like that there are less speculative hacks in this pool. And for example, for Dezi, it might take a long while until it really reaches the same numbers than Maxi already have after a few months, because it might be that a lot of those 86 million right now are speculative money, and they just think if they put their liquid hex in Dezi right now, in half a year they will be able to mint 2 hex for 1 Dezi. Not mint, so they would be able to sell 1 hexi for 1 Dezi for 2 hex. And I don't
Well,
think
let
so. So I think that Dezi, a 2-to-1 ratio on Dezi will take at least 2 years.
if we yeah, we will see it eventually though, right? Once the time goes on, because it earns a
Yeah,
lot
we
of
will
hex.
definitely see it. Yeah, because like in the end of those 10 years, the ratio should be somewhat between 6-to-1, 8-to-1, something like that. Because after 10 years, you will get about 600 to 800% of return.
All right, Patrick. And later on, at the end of the stream, obviously, I will ask you about the Kryptosparbuch strategy. If a no coiner, for example, with just some hex would like to get into the perpetual, but we will do that at the end of the stream, because we have not fully discussed maximum DAO. Because there's also something called the team token, and the team token works a little bit different. So should we jump into this a little bit?
Yes, of course. So at first, let's explain a little bit like what team is. I will just scroll a little bit more down that we see the team minting here as well.
And really quick
So
here, Patrick, I have Dipcatcher in the chat, and he's sending us $10 saying,
cool.
let's go Lucky. Lucky, the smallest pool so far. But I think Dipcatcher wants to see all the pools filled up, especially Lucky. I think Lucky is a lucky number, so I like Lucky a lot. I'll definitely put some hex there in this direction as well. Thank you, Dipcatcher, so much. This
Yeah,
will
so
help the million poster a lot.
I personally have hex in all of them, so I minted my hex against all of them, because I really think that compared to doing a short-term stake, like a 30-day stake, it doesn't matter. All of the pools will be outperforming that. So even base, because even with base you get estimated APY of 12%. That's a whole percent per month. And nowadays you would need like a lot of hex in order to get to a whole percent of interest per month. And then if you stake 30 days, in a period of 1 year, you're losing 12 days of interest as well. And you don't lose that when you just mint and hold base. And obviously, it will be better, a better ratio the longer you that the longer the contract is you choose. So in the German stream, Abid asked me like with 10,000 hex, and I said like with a low number than like 10,000 hex, I would just recommend DC. And when the number of hex goes bigger, you know, you can also put some in other pools. And it might be that Daisy will not be traded at a premium because there is like so much speculative money in that. And that's why it might be that actually Lucky and Trio will get earlier to a premium because they have less interest. So maybe there is also less speculative interest in them.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe because those pools are not filling up right now, and later on those perpetuals getting really, really interesting since we have a great community. So maybe later on the people will use their hex to then get Trio and Lucky and driving up the premium in the future. And when I was meeting Dipcatcher in
And
Las Vegas, I was asking him
yeah.
something similar, like how fast will it happen that the premium goes up there? And then he said something that actually shocked me. He said, well, everybody is expecting the premium to go up just like Maxi. So often the market does completely the opposite. But I do not know if I agree. I think the premium will just go up really, really slowly because the days are a little bit shorter of those stakes. And then there's also the thing, I think we discussed that before, base is already ending in 1 year. So how much up and down can there be in this 1 year, you know? Because it's certain that we can end stake the stake and get our hex back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you were asking him like, can they do the same then as Maxi did? Speaking of making over 100% premium in less than 6 months, and definitely that will not happen. So I'm like 98% sure that that will not happen.
Out of the reason that we have already discussed, maximum longest stake, it also earns the 5x hedron and so on, right? All right, Patrick, what we have not
And
discussed yet.
and I mean another thing. So some people are also thinking, okay, Maximus, the premium will also go down after those perpetuals and team is live. And I disagree to that. So maybe a little bit, yeah. But in general, I disagree to that, and I give you the reason why. So when you look at the numbers here, it says total so team contract breakdown. I still need to explain team. Yeah, I didn't do that. So team is a new coin which is not a representative of a hex stake. Team is an option where instead of like holding or selling your perpetual with team, you get uh, dividends on a yearly base. Those dividends you get in the form of hex and hedron. And right now, also in those 21 days, you can only take Maximus in order to mint team. And one Maxi means one team. And we know that there are like 293 million Maxi. And out of those, nearly 40 million Maxi already got minted to team. Out of those 40 million, about 30 million is staked and about 10 million is liquid. Those are like 75% staked, 25% liquid. And the reason why I think this ratio will always will go up more than down will go up more than down is also here with this maxi burn. So if you exchange maxi for team, what happens with the maxi? 50% of those maxi, you see that 50% of those maxi go to the maxi mystery box. 20% of those maxi are getting burned. So like really burned out of the total supply, reducing the total supply of Maxi, making each and every Maximus, which you still own, more valuable. And then 30% of all the exchanged Maxis are going in a pool, which is called the 369 Maxi rebate. So all the team stakers who are staking their team in the year 3, in the year 6, and in the year 9 will get each and every year on those years, so 3, 6, and ninth year, they will get back 10% of the maxi. And those 10% of maxi go back to all this stake team member and not to the liquid team member. So if only like 75% is stake, so the 10% of the rebate goes to only 75% of active stakers. We will see how that unfolds, but that's like another reason why I think the maxi ratio is unique.
All right, and everything that you were explaining here about team and the perpetuals, the chat is also saying, Dipcatcher is saying it was the reason of team why the maxi premium got a little bit higher, and this is probably the highest that we have seen so far, right? And also Nate Stake is saying team giving back maxi year 369, just like you said. I think we have an awesome chat going on here that they are already explaining while you are explaining. So thank you so much for that. All right, so this was
Yeah,
the team staking. Yeah, go ahead.
and what I like here is like the team leaderboard. So you can also go scroll down here, and then you have the team minting leaderboard, and then you see like which addresses are having how much, you know. And out of those 40 million teams, you see that the first two guys have 2 million. Then we have like one, two, three, nearly four guys with 1 million. And so this guy, for example, he minted 900,000, only staked 800,000. And huh? How does is that possible? Like if I mint 10,000, 900,000, stake 800,000, and then I only have 10,000 liquid. Ah, it might be that he already has like nearly 90,000 in a liquidity pool. Mars, is that true?
Well, we have to speculate on that. Dipcatcher said something really
Yeah.
interesting here as well. Dipcatcher is saying, who knows what other types of benefits come from minting their perpetuals? And obviously, we have a function that is called the mystery box. We do not know what the mystery box is about to do, but it seems the mystery box could bring some value for stakers and the perpetuals, right? For the diamond hands.
Yeah. Yeah, so when it comes to those things, so he's speaking about like future possibility, future optional airdrops, for example, but no expectation of profits only from the work of others, guys. Um, I think that will be only take place for those people who are actively staking their team or who are actively staking their perpetuals in the the new contract which is about to come out, where he is like working on it right now, called the diamond hand contract. So let me explain a little bit about that. So generally speaking, when you hold such a perpetual, you hold it like liquid hex in your wallet, but in the background those perpetuals earn more and accrue more and more hex, because it's just a representation of a hex stake. And the diamond hand contract will give you the option that you, for example, you say, okay, I want to be like 10 years in the daisy contract. I don't have any I don't want to look at it, you know, I don't want to trade it, I don't want to sell it when the premium is high or something like that. I just want to hold it 10 years and redeem it in the end. Then it's the best thing for you to put it in the diamond hands contract, and doing so you will earn more fees if other people end stake earlier than they should. And the second option, what you can get there, is those future airdrops. And those future airdrops, for example, might come out of the mystery box. And I mean, there are tons of ideas, you know. So one of my personal idea would be if you can, but you know, it's a little trust thing. So in some other cryptos, I already saw it, that they have like something like a mystery box, and then people can actively show proof that they onboarded, did an event, yeah, did marketing, flyer, or put it sticker on places, send it a postcard to a high valuable zip code or something like along those lines. And if you show the proof, then you also get some out of this mystery box, if you're showing proof that you are actively onboarding. But that is all speculative, that's all future talk. For now, Dipcatcher is working on the diamond hands contract, which is nice if you really want to be in the perpetual the whole time. And I also think that he will come around with Maximus diamond hands, but maybe after the other force, because it's the same code, so it's easy to implement in my point of view. And yeah, then let's see. So
So,
another interesting play is like the liquidity play. I already explained it, right? Yeah.
yeah, you explained that already. I have a really interesting comment here by MJ Money. He is saying, why would you ever really want to get rid of your maxi? The 15-year payout is going to be huge. So, in your opinion, what would be a good reason to sell your maxi, and why would you do it?
Exchange your Maxi for team, you mean? And the reason is that I get something on a yearly base and don't need to touch my Maxi.
Yeah, Nate Stake is already saying here that with Team you earn more of the perpetuals and to speculate on the mystery box, also Maxi being returned year 369 on Team Stakers. But the question is really valid here. Why would you get rid of your Maxi? Because do we already know that we will earn your Maxi back once we pledge them? If I pledge 20% of all of my Maxi, will I ever get those 20% back after, I don't know, 15 years or whatever?
No,
You see? So that the
no.
question is really, really valid here. It is now that you speculate on team being way more, not way more, but being more profitable than Maxi here when you do it, right? So,
Not really. So, the thing is, I don't, I'm not thinking about exchanging any team for dollars, for example, forever. Because when it comes to team, it's also an endless passive income stream. You don't need to get rid of your team never and just perform a transaction on a yearly base, and then on a yearly base you get rewards in Hex and Hedron and Maxi. So in the first year you get Hex and Hedron from base. In the second year you get Hex and Hedron from base. In the third year you get Hex and Hedron from base, Hex and Hedron from trio, and the redebate of Maxi, and it goes on like that, And I don't know, in uh, a lot of years, there will be a year where you get Hedron and Maxi from base, from trio, from lucky, from Daisy. Yeah,
well,
those
what we
things.
see here from Dipcatcher, I think he gave a really good answer because obviously he's looking at it from a different perspective. Dipcatcher is saying to the question, why would you get rid of your Maxi? And Dipcatcher is saying, Maxi bounded by hex price due to redemption, team unbounded by anything since it's not redeemable. So team is in its own league. Team can go up 10,000x when hex is not doing so. So I think this is actually a good plus point why you should put your Maxi into the team smart contract.
And as we have like such a nice discussion about it right now, I would like to put myself on the other side as well, and give like a little risk possibility as well. So we know that we can only exchange team for Maxi, right? But then we also have this mystery box. And in the end of total team minted, this mystery box gets a full copy. So if we stay here at 40 million, in the end of the 21 days, like on the 27th of September, the mystery box will get another amount of this total team minted in the form of team as well. And then, especially like in the first few weeks and months, it could be that the market decides to uh, undervalue team or to not value team as the same as Maxi. Because I mean, that might change in the next 2 weeks because right now you don't need to stake your team already. You can do that within the next 12 days as well. Uh, but if that stays the same, the 25% of all team are liquid, it might be that we see a little sell of team, because if those team are still liquid in 13 days, it means that all those team can only get rewards in 2 years from now. Because if they don't stake it in the next 12 days, they won't get any bonus from the first base year from those heat run or those extra hex. And so they could only actively stake them a year from now and then just earn another passive income stream in 2 years from now. And that's why would be a little cautious. And it might be that we see team under the price of Maxi in the near future. But I'm not sure. I don't know exactly. I'm just saying that might be a risk here.
And as I understood, the main reason why you are saying that is because the mystery box gets a copy. And I think Dipcatcher is already answering here. He's saying,
Honestly, my main point is the liquid team. It's not about the copy of the mystery box, because I don't think those team will hit the market. But I see 25% liquid team, and that makes me a little nervous, honestly. Because why should you keep team liquid? Yes, in order to provide liquidity, maybe, but that's a lot. 25% of all exchanged team is liquid. That's a lot. That's really a lot. I hope those people are coming back in the next 12 days, and then we only see like 10%, like 4 million liquid, and not 25.
but as I see, Dipcatcher is agreeing with you, because he's saying, but also team has more downside risk. That risk is the cost you pay for increasing potential. So since team is in its own league, decoupled from Hex, right? Hex can maybe fall, team could go up. This is a possibility. Team has also a little bit of more downside here, and this is just the price you paid, like Dipcatcher says. I think this was really good here. All right, so Patrick,
I mean,
what
generally
else?
speaking, I like the leaderboard. I liked how it's spreaded. So, for example, here I guess it's like number 20 or 15. Uh, Still has like a fourth of the top number. So there are like not 2 or 3 addresses, owning more than 80% or something like that. I liked it a lot. And if you looked at here, if you looked it up, so for example, he has like a team minted and like 40% of his whole maxi, because he had like 4.5 and 2 million he minted. Here it's like 517 maxi left and minted like everything. Here minted everything. This guy minted 50%. This guy minted everything. This guy minted like 50%. Here everything. This guy again like 50%. This guy was a little. He has like a ton of maxi. It only went like with 20%. Here we have another time 100%. Here we have 50%. Here we have more than 80%. So, especially the top players here exchanged a ton of their maxis back to Hex. It's like here we have a player. He made like 420,000 maxi and still has like 2 million maxi. So that's only a little more than 20%. Yeah. Here
So
we have another player with more than 50% and so on. So it's interesting to watch this, and it's interesting to think about why those top players are exchanging so much of their maxi. So maybe there is a reason for it.
exactly, maybe there's a reason for it.
But if people are asking me how much percentage, I also tell them like 20 to 25%.
We have
Not
Hexiest.
50 or everything.
Just really, we go back to the chat really quick here. Hexiest man in the world is saying, thanks for the lessons and taking care of the winners last night, Patrick. They appreciated it. So I think you've been on a chat with the winners, explaining them everything about wallets and about the big opportunity that they're about to get. So I think
Yeah,
this was
we
pretty
we
cool.
we set it up the ledger. We set it up a dummy MetaMask. We set it up the ledger, and in the end, I sent them already their part of the pulse they won, of the pulse X they won, like from the test network, and then also Internet Money. One of our sponsors gave us 2 billion Internet Money tokens, so every winner can get 250 million of those tokens as well. So I sent those out as well. And then, which is still in the work, is a digital golf trophy as an NFT, which will also get to those people.
Awesome. The KSB TV
And
is
in a
also
few
in
days of
NFTs now.
yeah, and in a
All
few
right.
days from now, I will have the call with the second winning group. Kaylin is like getting them to the call.
So, Patrick, with the staking mechanism that we have now with the perpetuals and also team, we have burning going on and all those things. In Hex, I know this reduces a lot of sell pressure in the future. What do you think about all the game theory of the perpetuals and team, for example?
They are those are two pairs of shoes. So which one would you? And you know, when it comes to team, I already like Tipcatcher in the chat said already like why there is a possibility that it outperforms, and I gave you like the risk disclosure why there is also a possibility that it could underperform in the beginning. And then when it comes to the perpetuals, um, I'm not sure. So we might see like one of those four perpetuals at discount rates, especially if the hex price goes more down. That might lead to more sell pressure in the perpetuals. Um, yeah, and then
I'm
like it's a little it's a little misleading. So there are two terms. There is the term premium or discount, and there is the term ratio. And please don't mix that up together because we have a ratio of Maxi to Hex of more than 2 to 1, but the premium is not over 200%. It's still under two or about 200%, I guess, right now because we are at 220 with the ratio. Yeah. Um, because when it comes to premium or discount, we are calculating the accrued interest in it. So a premium means that you pay more than the initial hex plus the accrued hex right now. And the discount would mean that you pay less than the principal plus the accrued hex.
so here's a
And when it
really
comes to
interesting.
the ratio is like, if a ratio is under 1 to 1, 6 months after base started, it's like uh, a huge discount because 6 months after base started, it should be 106. And if it's then like 0.95, that's a huge discount, not like only a little discount.
And taxiest man in the world is saying something interesting here is I'm having a hard time seeing why any of these perpetuals would be at a discount other than a big decrease. However, it's literally liquid hex. I think they are all going to do well.
Mhm.
Question is which will do the best.
Yeah, I also honestly, I mean, let's bring up the Maxi chart again. Yeah, can you bring that up and let me zoom in and let me zoom in, especially in the first 2 weeks. Uh, it was not a lot of volume there. It was not a lot of money needed to bring the back up, but we saw those spikes under 1-on-1. Yeah. So here, this is the one line, and you see there are some spikes under the 1-on-1 line, especially in this first 2 weeks. So even when it comes to Maximus, there were like some retarded traders in there who thought that yeah, I am going to sell that after 2 weeks. And those push the ratio like under this 1-on-1. So that can definitely also happen like with the other perpetuals. And over time, they they will get a higher ratio. So especially like base in the end, like in September next year, will definitely trade around those 1.12, 1.14, depending like how much emergency and stakes we had over the course of the year. But it will definitely trade around the 112, because if it's less than 112, I will definitely buy base with more hex, because obviously I can exchange that for 112 in a couple of weeks, in a year from now. So yeah, I hope that explains it.
Yeah, I think so. And well, I was asking Dipcatcher about like how could the premium or even the discount look like? Could it do we maybe even have some time after the pledging phase is over where it's still like close to 1-to-1? And I think like something that happened with Maximus could happen again, right? Where it takes a couple of things. But Patrick, I want to ask you the question because we talked about that in our German stream. What could be a scenario where people like what would need to happen where people say, okay, I do not want to hold my trio anymore or my lucky anymore? And why do you think that could happen? Like once you see
So
the
it
the
could
yield.
be like a little. So two reasons. Uh, it might just be like a avalanche. If you like two big players decide to go out of, let's say, trio, and they are pushing the ratio down under 1-to-1, and maybe there are just like not no buyers on the other side who are like straight buying that up to 1-to-1 again. And then it could lead like to a group sell-off, that like, oh no, the whales are getting out, let's go out there as well. Yeah, quick. Because crypto markets sometimes are just stupid. And that might be a reason. Yeah, and,
Well,
and
this is
a second reason might be because Hex gets under so much pressure, sell pressure, that the perpetuals are getting this sell pressure as well.
well, I think we discussed a lot about the perpetuals, about Maximus, about all the pros and cons. I'm 100% for all those perpetuals. I already said it to Dipcatcher. My hex will go into the perpetuals now and also in the future. When I have hex staking coming out, like in 1 or 2 years, there will be a base still where I can pledge, right? In 3 years, there will be trio where I can pledge my hex again, and so on. So I already know I will participate in those stakes, in those smart contracts, not only now, but also in the future.
Yeah, and
And
the
then,
perpetuals are also meant to grow over the years. So, in my point of view, in like 5 years of now, we will already see a base contract more than 150 million. And when the second trio comes out, the second lucky comes out, I also think that we will see way more hex pledge to them.
exactly. So now is the time for the chat here to ask some more questions because we are at the end of our stream. I think we discussed Maximus DAO team and all the perpetuals pretty good. And one question that I asked you, I did not get out too much out of it, so I want to explain myself why I asked the question. Well, I'm looking about the game theory always like in a holistic way, right? All the possibilities to stake your perpetuals, to get yield out of your team, for example. This has a special game theory, right? Like, let's say in year 3, 6, and 9, where the team people have to stake in order to get their maxi, right? That's what they really want. As I understood it, is that you better not end stake because then you will not get the yield. So a lot of reduced sell pressure in the future. Why I really believe team could be really beneficial compared to Maximus or the perpetuals, and this is really what you speculate on when you
I only see
sacrifice.
like a little risk in the beginning. I only see a little risk in the beginning, yeah, because of mystery box and all those liquid teams, and I don't know like why people are keeping that liquid for other reasons than to provide liquidity or to speculate. And I don't see that you need like 20%, 25% of all the tokens available in liquidity pools. That would be way too much liquidity. Um, and I mean, Dipcatcher is saying that team can moon on its own. but that's actually not true if we have a big team maxi pool.
All right. So, Patrick,
So that would be true if we have the main pool in Team USDC.
that's true. And what is also true is what we got here from Hexiest Man in the World. That is a big sign of respect for Dipcatcher and Gold Key. Kryptosparbuch will be using them, and Kryptosparbuch has used the Maximus DAO already once it launched. We put our hex from the onboarding account into the smart contract in order to get Maxi completely. And is this maybe the reason why there are so few hex in there now?
Yeah, that is the reason why there is so few X in there right now, because I have like 42,000 maxi and like 11,000 hex. And
Exactly.
those
So,
hex,
and
we bought with a donation which came in later.
then Hexisman is saying Bluebomb is also making a really good comment here about Hedron comes with each of them at lower gas cost too, right? So I think the Hedron HSI stakes, Patrick, do they have a lower gas cost than the native stakes? A little bit, right?
No.
No?
But you don't need like the end stake fee because you can just tokenize it and sell it.
That's true.
You know, there are like I don't want to compare perpetuals with HSI staking because I like both, you know, and then I will continue to do and hold both. So now, for example, I go in all the perpetuals and into team. But let's say next year when it's time to restake my ladder, because I'm going to a yearly ladder, then I will still use the HSI stake. Yeah. Because for my portfolio, I'm just using the HSI stake in order to reduce the risk of not being able to end stake on the East chain in 15 years.
And
That's
this
why
is also.
I'm doing the HSI stake. Yeah. And I'm not doing that because I could borrow Hedron on them. I'm not doing them because I can sell them earlier on. I'm just doing them because of the risk of the end stake fees of the East network.
And also, I think one point that you're making with the HSI is that you also earn 5555, right? The hex and the hedron, and you don't have that, for example, with Decky. I think this was one point you were
No,
making earlier.
yeah, that's
All
true.
right.
Yeah,
So,
but you know, if you just look it up, like how much Hedron you would theoretically earn, it's not much. So that's like for a T-shirt, it's like $150 of Hedron right now, and you might be better off if you just purchase those Hedron on the open market right now and then stake those Hedron, because then you get also exposure to ICOS. So that's why I just don't like to compare HSI staking with perpetuals, because both things have advantages for certain users or certain strategies or outcomes, you know. So both are great things, you know. Alex made it really a great user interface with iCaster.pro, really well thought coins on top of Hex with Hedron and iCaster. And Dipcatcher also made a great thing with his team, getting the Hexicans to pool their hex together and make those perpetuals. So both I like both, you know. I don't want to decide between Dipcatcher and Elixir, you know. I don't want to decide between HSI staking and perpetuals.
yeah, well, that's why we go into both, I guess, right? Let's go into the chat a little bit more before
Yeah,
we
I mean
end our
I
stream.
have both, you know. In the
Exactly.
first 10 days when Hedron came out, I made my first 555 HSI stake. And when Maxi came out, I minted my first Maxi. And now, you know, when iCaster came out, I made my WhatsApp NFT. So I like, you know, I like both systems a lot. And I don't want to judge like this is better or that is better. Time will tell us. And for certain people, you know, like for everybody, there is an option right now. The only thing which is like the least cool thing right now is like to just make a native hex stake.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Interestingly.
Well, I was for the native hex stake for a long time now. I think I've changed my mind a little bit. I think the way to go is with HSI or with the perpetuals here. But Patrick, I see you like to play the
And it's not or, it's and. Yeah,
You
it's
have
not
to,
or, it's
all right.
and.
So I see you really like to
Uh,
play the blockchain game, and Hex Love is saying, Abit or Hex Lion, are you locking up your perpetuals with the Diamond Hands contract? I don't
I'm
know, right?
definitely locking up all my team. I'm all definitely locking up all my team. I mean, I did it already. When it comes to diamond hand contract, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure because I might look into liquidity providing as well, and I I don't know if I will really hold all the perpetuals until the end, but I might do a percentage, you know. So, for example, if you I don't know have 100,000 base, then you could say, okay, 20,000 base I do in the diamond hand contract because 20% of those I will definitely hold until the end, and that's a personal decision, you know.
And the great thing is that
Um,
you don't have to go all in, right? You can just get a couple of base and then maybe you only stake 10% of that in the diamond contract because we have to talk about the elephant in the room. I think Hex did 10,000x and with that, everybody went make way more money than compared to the 38% APY that you're making every year, right? Of course, it is great that I made my APY while Hex was going up like this, but sometimes you have an opportunity like this in a bull market and you do not want to be staked, right? So I think you should always do everything basically. So I think all the Hexicans have their
Yeah, but
native
you know,
stakes.
we also have like nearly the 1 year anniversary of the Hex all-time high, and I was pretty close to you a year ago, and I never heard the words out of you. Ah, I wish I wouldn't be like staked 100% right now in order to sell. You never told me that. You always say, no, no, we are going to $7.
No, no, but I think I hold on my claim what I said. I'm so happy that I was staked. Perek, you have seen me when I had sudden wealth syndrome and when we were on tour, right?
Yes.
At some point, I was spending crazy money monthly on what people in Backtown, in my hometown, would maybe earn in a whole year, right? So I was spending money left and right. And what money was I spending?
Yeah.
Only the money that I had not staked, right? And how much was that? It was only what I got out from my last birthday, right? So it's amazing that the Truth Engine really saved me from myself spending all my money. I stand by that. But I think now with a little bit more experience, you can also do HSI stakes and the perpetuals. They are really great ways to earn more hex, right? And this is what we are all about. So yeah, I'm definitely also not for native staking, but for using the options that we have, the smart contracts that we have to make everything way more profitable and more flexible as well. All right, so do we have other questions
So
here?
diamond hands yes or diamond hands no? Because now you told me like at first you told me like diamond hands yeah maybe 10%, and now you're telling me the story how awesome it was to be staked for such a high percentage that you did not were able to sell everything, you know. So what's your point now? Still like
My,
maximum 10% or more?
I think the point is that you should not go all in. I think you don't need to put all your base or perpetuals into the into the diamond hand smart contract. Maybe you just go with 10% or 50%, 15%, something like this, right? Other people are totally different. They would lock it all up because I had a great experience doing that with Hex for sure. Especially once you're a little bit younger in crypto, right? When you just got into crypto, then locking up I think is the way to go. Once you have a lot of experience, a couple of experience, then maybe you can play other games, right? And this is what we are in right now. So
Are you playing
this
other
is
games?
well. Do you play other
Are you
games?
playing other games?
We play other games for sure. Yeah. Everybody has a different perspective on the market, right? Likes other coins, right? And I think this is why basically everybody in crypto is playing a little bit of a different game. Some want a lot of risk, some want no risk at all, and this is what you get with hex staking. I think you don't have too much risk there, for example.
Mhm.
All right, so we do not have
All
any
right. Do we have
more
any questions?
any questions, no more
Everybody
questions in
watching
the chat
Zipcatcher.
here. everybody watching Dipcatcher, but Dipcatcher is
watching
also
Dipcatcher.
here in the chat. He said something that we were discussing already before. Recommend to people that want to have Hedron to just buy it. The Hedron earned from the new stakes now is so small, you can easily just buy it. I tweeted the breakdown for each pool. So yeah, the Hedron is actually really low right now, right? So it is just an opportunity to buy it and stake it, and then, like you said, Patrick, you can even make more Hedron, more Icosa by staking that.
No, yeah, more Icosa. You cannot make more Hedron. You can make more
Exactly.
Icosa.
Well, you could then stake this Icosa and get Hedron back here, right? So there's so many ways.
That's true. Yeah, then you get Hedron and Icosa. So that's why I would recommend this route way more, because for those Hedron who you could theoretically accumulate there, you will also need to wait until the end of the stake. In order to get like your Hedron exposure, I would rather recommend, so either just buy the Hedron and stake the Hedron, or also make a HSI stake. With the HSI stake, you will be able to mint from time to time the Hedron when you want to, and that's also like a way to get exposure to Hedron on the side. So I don't see like a big lost opportunity there, that all the Hedron from the perpetuals from the new ones go to the team staker. I really don't see any problem here, because our main coin is still Hex. The main reason for a perpetual is still to represent a Hex stake, and we all still want Hex to do the same as Bitcoin did. And if Hex makes a 6.9 million X, we are nearly at $369 per X.
And Patrick, so we are coming to the end of the stream. Let me ask you this question, because you touched it a little bit before. So the perpetuals, for example, with Team especially in the backhand, they are meant to fill up more in the future, right? Once more and more people know about Hex, know about the perpetuals, and I think Team will do exactly that. So what is your take on that? How do you think it will play out in the future with all this Team and all the benefit that could come for Team stakers?
So when it comes to team, I guess like over the years, the gains will be bigger and bigger, because for example, in the second year, I'm quite sure that the base contract will get more hex than this time. And doing so, in after the second year, you already get more. And then there is the option from the mystery box. But I mean, it's all speculation when it comes to the mystery box. I personally would really, really, really like to see 1 year of nothing. I would really like to see that. Even like after Maxi, I was hoping that we see 1 year of nothing, where we just go against all those scammers out there who are like telling us like Maxi airdrop or free giveaway or all this kind of bullshit. I yeah, I would prefer to see 1 year of nothing, but I guess in a couple of months from now, we will see something else. Maybe already in a couple of weeks from now. So Tipcatcher might start with the diamond hand for base, trio, lucky, and desi. And a few weeks later, he might launch the diamond hand contract for Maxi as well. I just think that I don't know if there is like an issue right now with the Maxi team minting phase going on. So that's why he might launch it a little later. But also for Maxi, there is a diamond hand contract possibility.
So the last question that we have here in the chat is from Hex My Pulse. Is perpetual staking better yield than hex staking?
It
So I think
depends. So if you compare it to a short-term stake, to a 30-day stake, yes, perpetuals are better. If you compare it to a 5555 stake, then only Maxi and Dezi might be better. If you compare it to, you are doing a 3-year stake or you are minting the trio, then it would be the trio because you get bigger pays, better boni there. And you don't need to pay the end stake fee. So those two things would also outperform. So it always depends a little bit, but the perpetuals are always better than short-term staking.
And I think Hex, my pulse is especially talking about base here. So do you think 1 year of native staking Hex or base, what would be the better play? I think base, right?
Yeah, of course, base, because you get
So
a
many
little bit of
advantages.
bigger pays, better bonus.
And you don't have to
Yeah,
pay
a
the
little
ad
bit of
staking fee.
bigger pays, better bonus, and you don't have to pay the end stake fees. Yeah.
Okay.
So those two things, like let's say like you put $1,000 right now into Hex, and one guy is staking those Hex for 1 year, and the other guy is exchanging them to base. The exchange to base will cost him like the same as the other guy cost like the start stake, maybe a little bit more because of the approval. And then after the year, how much is it? After it really depends like how high the GWI are. If they are like at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it might be like really not more than $20-$30 on fee. But if they are like on 50, then we are already talking about $200-$300 on fees. And your $1,000, if the hex price kept the same, only went to 1120 or 1200, no, 11, yeah, 1120, 1150. So if the fees are really high, that could really cut your gains there. So yeah,
Patrick, could
more
you
the
think?
perpetual, and then something else. It's a bad comparison for me, honestly, because the perpetuals I have liquid. So if I think about staking 1 year, I could compare it to the DESI contract, because the DESI contract I can also sell after 1 year. And there I have a 30% APY and not only a 12% APY. So after 1 year, I might get a 1.3 to 1 ratio. So instead of only getting 1.12 hex, I get 1.3 hex.
It's actually a good argument here. Decky over Lucky
Yeah.
and
So
Trio here, huh? And
that's
that's
why you see like Vicky outperforming so much, and I
yeah,
think.
that really makes sense. That's probably is the reason why we show the market doing what it does, right? Preferring Decky all over the other coins. And with base here, you really have a different value proposition with providing liquidity, because I think base and hex, they will always be so close to each other, right? Maximum of like 10%
And I
difference.
and I also think that there will be like the most trading going on. Yeah. So like in this niche, yeah. So not generally speaking, but in this niche, like when it comes to perpetuals, I guess that the base hex chart might be getting traded from some,
Patrick, could you think of a reason why to not mint team with your maxi?
because you want to hold on your maxi and you don't want to do anything on a yearly base.
All right, so you must be a lazy guy that does not like the potential of team outperforming maxi.
It's not about lazy guy. For example, I take my father as an example. I am controlling his private key, and he has a short-term staking ladder, like only 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, because he said, "Oh, who knows? Like what comes like in those late years." And interestingly, his stake always ends like in April, so it was perfect timing for Maxi. And then I called him. I said, "Yeah, I end staked your hex. This is like so much worse. What would you want to do with it?" And then he said, like, "Oh, I'll keep on staking." And then I said, "Okay, before I put it now, like just 5 years out to the end of his ladder, I will just mint the Maxi." But I'm not willing to go in his wallet every September to get my dividends and restake the team, for example. So for him, I keep 100% max.
Yeah, thanks. So you see, every coin has a different use case here, and so there is even the possibility to not use your maxi to get team just because you want to have it this way, right? Patrick, here another question: do you think Richard Hart will ever launch his own perpetual contracts?
No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that Richard puts like more layers to his own stuff.
Yeah,
That's
I
no.
think
So
I
I
think
don't see it.
Richard
So it's
I think Richard
why.
likes those perpetuals and Maximus that we have right now, and I think he agrees
I
with
mean,
the need
another
of.
interesting idea would be another Maximus contract in a year from
I think Dipcatcher said on that he is not in the rush to make another 5555 smart contract, but rather a 12-year, 13 years, something like this. So I think that was really interesting
now.
here.
Ah, yeah,
All right.
that might be better because if you do another Maximus, then you have like Maxi and Maxi 2. It's like a mess. Like when it comes to when new people like looked it up, like what's that? Okay, I go for the cheaper one. No, no. That would be so. Yeah, I liked it way more. Like to have, for example, a 12-year and a 14-year, and then you have the Maxi with the 15.2 and the Daisy with the 10. So yeah, I liked it.
All right, Patrick. I think this was a great stream here where we talked about Maxi, about the perpetuals, and all the things that were going on here. I think we had a great chat. Is there anything that you maybe want to add?
No, I would put the people to Dipcatcher's stream right now. He also put it in the title that he will look it up if he can get some money out of the Ethereum proof of work fork, because there is like a little group of people who wants to split off from the main Ethereum blockchain and maintain a proof of work version to like keep Ethereum mining alive after the merge.
So I've put Dipcatcher's live stream into the chat right now. So after our stream here, just feel free to go to him. Maybe say hello from KSB TV. That would be awesome as well. And the last words that I want to say about Team Maximus and the Perpetuals is that I was not able to pledge yet. I was in Las Vegas. I had a couple of traveling to do here in Albania. But now I got all my informations together. I did the stream here with Patrick, and I'm confident enough to
Yeah,
say all my
did I
hacks that.
FOMO you? Did I FOMO you enough?
Well, obviously, I had this idea already in Las Vegas, but all my liquid hacks that I have available at the moment right now will go towards the perpetuals. But you have to remember, I did not want to sell my hacks, even if it was liquid, anyways, right? So this is the reason why I can go all in those perpetuals right now, because I do not really need to sell. So what would be my ratio? I like Decky the most, I must say. And then I probably will divide it up a little bit even between base, lucky, and trio.
Yeah, I did the same, my friend. So I have the same amount in base, lucky, and trio, and I have more, actually way more than that, in Daisy.
But here's the last thing that I've not talked about, and this is from Uncle B. He's asking, how much of your perpetuals back are you converting into team? So actually, the question for me would be, how much of my maxi would I convert into team? And I have not thought about that. I was like playing with the number of like 20%, 20% of my maxi could go towards Steam, something like this, maybe more. Maybe I'm FOMOed more by the mystery box right now. Patrick, what is the number that you would advise for like people that have no idea?
I mean, I told some other people like 20 to 25%, but looking at the biggest players in team, so bring up my screen share again, please. Because what we have here is the team minting leaderboard. And if you look like what is the remaining maxi balance, I did that already in the stream, but most of those top people did exchange all their maxi or over 50% of their maxi. And I saw it like today the first time as well, because I guess it just came online a few days ago or yesterday maybe. And that makes me rethink, is 20 to 25% really the right play? Should it be more? But yeah, I will stick to that for my own portfolio. And as I already told you, what might be the risk of team, that there is maybe a possibility that we go down, especially in the first few weeks. Then I will take more hex and buy more team and don't touch my max.
Well, this is obviously always a possibility to use your hex to get team, right? But imagine the premium you would actually pay, right? You would have to pay so much more hex
Yeah, but
that you would have.
right now it would be maybe a 2.2, but that's what I'm saying. So maybe I don't know like why people are holding their team liquid. So maybe in 12 days from now we will see like way less liquid team. Because if we see like 10% of all the team liquid, I would say okay, most of those people will just provide liquidity. That's fine. But with 25%, I see a couple of millions there who are sell pressure.
All right. And Texas Man in the World is saying, I'm having a hard time parting with my Maxi, but I'm thinking maybe go with all of it into team. Well, if you go all of it into team, that's a big move, right? You don't have to do that. You can also do like 50-50, something like this. So do it a little bit
I
more
mean, the,
conservative.
the main question which goes up front of that, like how much of my maxi should I exchange for team, is the personal question you need to ask yourself. Do you need to, do you want to do something on a yearly base? And if this answer is no, then keep all your maxi, please.
But you know what? I'm pretty sure everybody who's in this chat right now does something every year, at least. I'm pretty sure on that. So that's
Yeah.
why after the stream,
Yeah, yeah.
I think I got my FOMO points on again. I want to put in all my all my hex into the perpetuals, but I say it again. I did not want to sell my hex anyways, right? So now if you want to, if you plan on selling your hex and put them into this or that smart contract, and the smart contract is maybe not at the premium that you were hoping for, that is a risky play. So only do those risky plays if you do not want to sell anyways. And then you can even go all in, because I love the perpetuals. I love the stream that we had, Patrick. It was great. Dip Catcher was in here. It was amazing.
I
So
liked
I
it. Yeah.
think
Yeah.
last words have been said. We talked about so much here, 1.5 hours. Normally we do our streams a little bit longer, shorter. We talked about the golf tournament, about Vegas a little bit, but main focus was the perpetuals here, obviously. And if you have any other questions, you can always reach us on Twitter or our Kryptosparbuch Telegram chat, which is actually just German, I'm thinking right now. But there are always ways to reach us and ask questions. So I hope you like the chat.
So guys, you can also you can reach out to me in the Maximus Telegram chat if you want to, because today we all in the team Telegram chat, so I am in both. You can tag me there, and yeah, if you have any further questions, we can also chat there if you want to. And one last thing I want to show the camera is like this here. That's what I, not this here. That's what I got in Vegas from Suzanne. So from Suzanne's fashion, she made a fashion show on Wednesday night, and those are like Swarovski. I mean, it's not Swarovski, but those are like Swarovski crystals. And yeah, it's awesome. No, it's my new streaming T-shirt. So tell me in the comments what you think about it. If I should wear that always when I'm streaming. I like
Looks
it a lot.
amazing. I'm definitely for yes. You should always wear that when you're streaming. Is there maybe a possibility for the people to get those merch, to get the merch from Susan?
Yes, of course. So I don't know the exact website out of my brain right now, but just shoot us a DM and then we forward you the contact details of Susan.
All right.
And
Thank you, Patrick.
yeah, and two more things. No, sorry, two more things. What's coming next? So yeah, so can you put that in the chat as well, David? What Mars put in the private chat? It's
Yeah.
like it's Susanne's art, and on Twitter it's Susanne Hexican, Susanne Hexican. So just copy paste it in the chat. And the two other things I would like to tell the audience is like what comes next. So I already did a stream with Kaylin about it. David, you were there as well for a couple of times. So what comes next for KSB and the events we are planning? The first thing what we will do is a Hex meetup for the Hex birthday. So over those days of the 2nd of December, there will be a Hex birthday party going on in San Diego, in the southwest of in the south of California, southwest of America. And the second thing we are focusing on is the HEX Cruise. So if somebody could put the link to the HEX Cruise, like ksbtv/meetups, in the chat as well. And what is the HEX Cruise? So the HEX Cruise, for our point of view, is the best community building thing what we can do. It is a 4-day cruise from Fort Lauderdale to the Bahamas and back, from the 24th to the 28th of April 2023. This week, when we called the cruise line, they told us that vaccination is not a requirement anymore, so they are also changing that. Because a lot of Hexicans was like, this was their first question. It was not their first question, like, who will be on it? What will be the program there? Where are we going? No, it was this. So you can be, you are fine there. Just look it up in the internet. It's affordable rates as well. Every Hexican influencer I talked with in Vegas, I like the idea a lot. So I will focus my time to get like all the Hex influencers on the boat, and that we really have a nice Hexican boat. We don't need to fundraise anything. We don't need to sponsor anything. You know, it's just happening. And now there are like tons of free rooms still, and we can just slowly take the ship over. And you don't need to pay the full amount right now. Just go and get in touch with Caitlin, you know, because that we know you are part of the Hexicans on the ship. And to reserve a room is just $100 per person right now, and the rest payment is not due till the first week of February next year. So you can reserve your spot, you can look it up. We can have plenty of fun, you know, separated section in the restaurant, Hexican, like little meetups, you know, little activities on the ship, breakfast together, dinner together, and then on the 2 days where we are on the Bahamas, we can also make excursions, for example, with the title "Meet Your Favorite Hexican." And yeah, that's it. I hope everybody likes this idea of the Hex Cruise, and I hope to see a lot of community members on there. And that's it. Thanks for the stream today. Thanks for staying with us the whole time, an hour and 40 minutes or something like that. And yeah, goodbye, and we see each other soon. What do you have to say?
What I want to say is Hex My Pulse is saying, nice, see you on the cruise, have stakes ending then. Yes, I'm really excited for the cruise as well, like the Cabana party that we had in Las Vegas. You know, being there with all the influencers talking about crypto, one of the best experiences in my life so far. So I definitely want to replicate that at the cruise. All the informations are here in the links. We have ksb.tv/meetups or hexcruise.com. Amazing that we got this domain, and I'm really, really excited about that. Now there's nothing else to say, but thank you. Please like and subscribe. And right now, also go to Dipcatcher's stream right now, because I've just been in there, and he's seriously right now coding with Gold Key on Diamond Hands. I think this is amazing. Please go over there, give him a shout out from KSB TV. Thank him for everything that he is doing. I think those guys are entrepreneurs and rock stars in the Hex ecosphere. I'm so proud to be part of all of that. Thank you, guys. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Read it.